What's up guys, DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to yet another Men of War Assault Squad 2 battle. This one's gonna be quite special. We're playing a few different mods here at the same time, all in order to create this beautiful experience. It has been suggested to me a few times, more specifically in the previous World War I video that we did, playing the Great War Realism mod. And we are indeed doing World War I versus World War II. And a lot of you might be thinking, oh come on. That's silly. World War II is gonna win, but wait a minute. We've balanced it out slightly. And think about it, you know. There's only 20 years in between. Not really, but think about it. You do 1918 World War I equipment and put it up against 1939 World War I equipment, which is, by the way, mostly from like the mid-30s. Like there was a lot of development leading up to the war itself, but a lot of the equipment that was used early war had been around from the mid and early 30s. So think about it today, we still use a lot of weapons that was developed in the 70s and 80s. Look at the GPMG, also known as the M240. That's like over 20 years old, and plenty of other things too. But then again, weaponry did advance at a much faster pace between, say, the 1920s and 1940s than they did between 1980s and today. Although that's like 40 years ago. Why do I still think that it's like 2000? Why? It's about 40 years ago. So perhaps that comparison is a little off. But you catch my drift. I'm sure you do. If not, then just drift down this river and disappear. Bye. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we've got an interesting setup here. We've got Germany, France, and Britain on this side, representing the World War I team. And we've also got Germany, Britain, and Russia on this side, representing the World War II team. So, both of the factions will be deploying 2 tanks each. So if there's 6 factions in total, there will be, 12 tanks on the field. So 2 German, or actually in total 4 German, 2 French, 2 Russians, and 4 British. 2 per wave, 2 per side at the same time. So it's even when it comes to the tanks. We've got 1 medium for the World War II side, and then we have 1 heavy/medium for the World War I side. Now both sides will also be deploying 1 light tank without any AT capacity, to be quite honest. The World War II light tanks that will be deployed are essentially more like scout tanks than they would be anti-tanks, so to speak. And the World War I tanks deployed are certainly the only thing light tanks would be at the time, which would be anti-infantry. Tanks were rarely anti-tank, so to speak, even towards the end of the war. So that's what we've got going. Now, infantry-wise, the World War I waves will be deploying twice as many numbers, okay? It'll fit the era more. World War I infantry was usually more grouped and in larger numbers during attacks in World War I than they were in World War II. That's just due to the lethality of the weaponry that was around in World War II compared to World War I. And the World War I side will also be deploying a few field guns, and that is just in order to keep it somewhat even. So to sum it all up, we've got 3 factions per side. Each faction will be deploying an even amount of tanks per round, but the infantry will be twice as many on the World War I side, and they'll also be getting field guns. This is in order to keep it somewhat even. The weaponry used is 1918 standards for World War I. So the only ones that will be deploying SMGs will be like the French and Germans, the MP18 and another French gun that I can't remember. There will also be some old MGs, MG08, I think, and the Lewis gun and a French Chauchat, or whatever it's called. Chauchat? I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced. Bunch of rifles, and that's mostly it. Not really any anti-tank capacity. I do believe the Germans will have some sort of 1918 anti-tank rifle, and there will be a few hand grenades that can destroy a tank as well. On the World War II side, it's pretty simple with the submachine guns, the assault rifles, because we're doing kind of a 1945-ish, 1944 World War II standard, just so that we see more of a contrast in between the weaponry, right? PPSHs and Sten guns and Bren guns and whatnot. So it'll be very different in that kind, but I am super excited to get this one going. So without further ado, let's click start and let's just enjoy the battle. I don't need to do any commanding at all. Over here on the World War I side, we have the Germans to first take the field. Plenty of infantry, field guns, and 2 tanks. The first one to enter the field will be a Sturmpanzerwagen, the A7V. Looking quite nice. We have a tremendously slow tank behind it, so I'm going to head over to the World War II side. Because it's going to take a while for that thing to enter the field. So one thing you will notice is how impactful tanks will be. Infantry was less contrasted. Obviously, the weaponry was quite different and whatnot. But still, the tanks will make a huge difference here. Over here on the World War II side, we have the Brits to first take the field. We've got plenty of infantry marching down the side of the road here. Bren guns, Lee Enfields, and Sten guns. Yeah. Good stuff, standard infantry equipment. But the tank side of things is different. We have a medium tank, a Cromwell, followed by a light tank Tetrarch, yes. And, well, we'll see how they do. The battle has started. German infantry has crossed the bridge. And that's going to kick off the fight. So the... Oh, that guy was sniped. The World War I side will always outnumber the World War II side in infantry, and I think that's quite logical and realistic, seeing as how infantry was deployed in quite different numbers and ways during World War I and World War II. So they're going to be just storming the British infantry. They're going to engage them at a pretty close range, since they're going to be the first to fight here. When the reinforcements arrive, they're going to be slightly more prepared and spread out. So this might just go in the favor of the Germans early on. We're in the left side. The Cromwell is moving up. And the A7V is just getting into position. It's pretty slow. It seems to have sped up a little bit. But if I was it, I'd face the Cromwell with my main gun, which is the 57mm gun at the front. With, I believe, no AT capacity. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to find out. If it does have some sort of AT shell, and that'll be good. The field guns deployed on either side here are 75mm field guns with no AT capacity at all. But the HE shells should be sufficient to knock out light tanks. So as long as they aim for the light tanks, they should be fine. And of course, infantry. And here's the really slow tractor in the back. This is just a German light tank with an MG08, I do believe. And it's sitting pretty, not doing much, but that's what it wants to do. So the next up will be the Russians and French. And I think just as I said that, they spawned. Yeah, you can hear them already. Vive l'Empereur! Except they didn't have an emperor in World War I, but still. They're moving in. Another 2 field guns. Kind of the same as what the Germans brought in, really, but the French variant. The 1897 model, I do believe. Which was quite popular. Oh! Cromwell took a shot at the light tank, and that's going to be it for that one. Game over, boys. Jumping out. Quite confused, but obviously they can't do much about it. German infantry on this side seems to have been pushed back now by the British infantry. They lost a lot of soldiers to the tanks, and of course the British equipment, superior infantry equipment. But I think they're still doing quite well here on the left side. This Tetrarch has been somewhat disabled in terms of the tread, but they can probably repair that, and the main gun seems to be working. So the infantry on this side is doing tremendously poorly, I suppose. But look at that. They're still taking casualties. Don't get overzealous, because it'll be your fall. Well, the Cromwell has made it over now, officially. And it's just going to be wreaking havoc. I think grenades might be thrown. Shots are definitely exchanged. Oh, man. Oh, man. HE shells from the field guns are just trying to do their best now, but I'm not sure how it's going to go. Look at that. The French tanks have arrived now. We've got an FT-17 and a tank, which name I cannot remember. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the game and look. It's a Saint-Chamond. Saint-Chamond. With a 75mm blockhouse Schneider gun as its main gun. And oh my lord! Oh, yes! This one certainly does have AT capacity, and it knocked out the enemy tank. And there goes the Russian one. What the hell? Was that an AT grenade? Or was it the... It surely can't have been the Saint-Chamond. We have to find out now. 2 tank kills. I can confirm that this French box This slowly moving box with a gun on it has taken out 2 World War II tanks. Oh my god, that's fantastic. That is evening the playing field completely. Is this A7V still active? No, it's not, unfortunately. It's down. But it had a 57mm Maxim Nordenfelt main gun with perhaps AT capacity, not entirely sure, but it was mainly an infantry support tank. But it was most likely knocked out by the Cromwell here. So this is interesting. Very interesting indeed. The Russians have already started taking lots of casualties. Look here at the T-60. It must have been shot dead by one of the 2 field guns active here on the right side. They must have just aimed for the right target in this case, because a 75mm HE shell, especially from 2 of these guns, will definitely shake up a tiny T-60. That's for sure. And in general, when it comes to these 2 tanks here on the side, or by the center on the bridge, complete luck. I've ran this scenario like several times just to make sure that the scripting works, because there's an intense amount of scripting. I have never seen the result that we're seeing right now, which is why it came as such a surprise, honestly. But it's not over for the World War II side quite yet. There's still the Germans to spawn in, and we do know a lot about the German armor. And the British have just spawned in, so they'll be entering the field now. That's the FT-17. That's still the French tank being so slow there at the rear. Of course, the Brits will be going in with the classic Mark IV tank and a Whippet light tank. So that's what they're bringing. Plenty of infantry as well with Lewis guns and Lee Enfields, and that's about it for the infantry. Another 2 field guns, so that's gonna bring up the total amount of field guns to 6, although 1 has been knocked out on this side. The Germans are coming in. Infantry's getting spread out here, joining the rest of the Russian infantry. I wonder if there's any British infantry remaining from the first wave. There must be, but we can't tell for sure. Yeah, there's a few over here guarding the dam. Armor-wise, we've got a Panzer IV and a Panzer II. Oh! It took a hit, most likely from an HE shell there from the field guns. Oh man, dude. Is that the track, or what happened? Why are you spinning around? What did we just knock out? No, the tracks are fine. Oh man. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. If it doesn't return fire soon, this thing is gonna get pummeled. No, it's fine. Some of the side armor has been lost. Why are you backing up at the enemy? You're exposing your weak side. There's the Saint-Chamond right there. It took one of the side. How is it still working? It's still going. Look at this beast. Oh, it took another one. I think one more hit from the side and it'll be gone. I think it's just purely luck that it's still somehow functioning. There we go. It's gonna come to an end now. Good run, boys. Good run. We'll see if the Mark IV has the AT capacity to knock out the Panzer IV. Let's take a look at the gun here. 57mm 6-pounder with only HE shells. So we were just purely lucky to have the AP shells from the Saint-Chamond here. Saint-Chamond. Look at the amount of field guns firing at the Panzer IV now. If they can get like some sort of lucky hit on the engine, perhaps they can make it catch fire and somehow implode or something. I'm not entirely sure here. The infantry will have to play a large role despite their lack of anti-tank capacity. Here comes the Panzer II. Oh, that's going to be taking some field gun fire. British infantry on this side has taken the field. Where's all the German infantry? Well, they're still moving up. Holy shit, the 20mm just absolutely wrecked. Oh, the Mark IV. Oh, damn. I think that was kind of to be expected, though, and here we have the FT-17 completely destroyed. What about the British Whippet tank? It must have fallen prey to the combat as well. Yeah, it's here on the side. Somewhat faster than the German variant. But the field guns are still active, so that is the only somewhat AT capacity the World War I side has right now. And they've actually knocked out the turret. That's something I'd expect the field guns to be able to do. But the Panzer IV back here is going to be a tough nut to crack. I need to open the minimap because I want to see what's going on in terms of numbers. Well, you can tell that there's a clear difference, but also a clear line here. We've got very few numbers down here, and then there's a concentration of World War I infantry up here. Question is if the outnumbered World War II infantry can actually make a stand and win. We'll have to find out, because if they do, I must consider them the winners here. Do take into account that the World War I infantry has outnumbered the World War II infantry. But that is just for balance, honestly. That's about what you can expect. And it does make sense to me as well. We have some Russian infantry remaining here together with the German, but I don't think a single Brit from the first wave is standing. And neither do I think any German World War I infantry is remaining either. They're crossing now. But you'll notice the difference in like the accuracy between the different machine guns and submachine guns is just so superior. But at this range, it's not going to make a big difference. Look at that Lewis gun. Oh, man. Do we have any STGs back here? No, that's an MP40. Not the greatest at range. I do think a Lewis gun would outgun it quite heavily. We'll find out what happens. It's still going. Oh, he's down, and the K98. It's not a huge competitor either, but we'll see. There's the MG42, though. I think that's going to be the fall here. Oh, man, look at it. Have they tried repairing? Look at the casualties here. This is crazy. So we're getting a look right now at the yellow World War I casualties and red World War II casualties, and they're so drastically different. Oh, wait. Wait, has this Panzer been knocked out? No, it should still be active. No, wait, has it been knocked out? It might. I think it's been knocked out. Yes, the field guns have somehow knocked it out. That is crazy. Never did I ever think I'd witness something like that. Some of the tank crew here, and Russian infantry still putting up a fight. Oh my god, World War I is kicking their asses. This is the first time I'm seeing this result, and I have to tell you, you know why? It's because the French tank was in the right place at the right time, and was somehow fortunate enough to score 2 good hits with the only gun on the battlefield that could actually make that happen. What are the odds? If it had not destroyed the Cromwell and the T-34, they would have wreaked havoc with the remaining infantry, and the World War II infantry would have done much, much better. But for some reason here, the game is like, I'm going to give you guys a real show. We're going to do damn well, and we're going to turn the tide and allow our infantry to come in and clean up the rest. We've got a few World War II survivors, though. We're gonna watch them play it out entirely. There's a few alive, indeed. Blow the whistle. Let's do the final charge. Let's kill the rest. We have two Germans back here on this side. Pulling back. Oh, smashing a window? Come on, guys. Oh, they're being searched for right now by British. Well, it's interesting to do these different eras fighting each other. I'd like to do more. There's something I could do, which is World War II versus Star Wars versus modern day. Maybe even versus World War I. Oh, what the? You okay? Someone died? What happened? No idea. But the remaining World War I infantry has got to march victorious. Wow, that is crazy. That is phenomenally crazy. I've never seen anything like it. What an unexpected result. But quite pleasing, nonetheless, to see that World War I can actually pull it through. And I know you're going to be saying, oh, but they had few field guns and oh, they had more infantry. But think about how devastating the World War II armor is compared to... This bloody light panzer just freaking imploded the Mark IV and everything else. Like, it's crazy what they can do. So, it was definitely balanced, but World War I had a hit of luck there and did well. Simply did better. And the rest was up to the infantry, whereas they simply could not beat back the slightly advantageous World War I infantry at the time. So, that was about it. Oh. 2 Camarade in here. How many is it left in total? We'll have to find out. It's these 2. We've got 4 gun crews here. We might as well just empty all the gun crews and have them fight the remaining soldiers there. The rest of the Brits marched off. They're going. They're going home. They're going to crack open a cold one. They've deserved it. So we've got German crewmen, French crewmen, and possibly British crewmen as well. Yes. All right. You entente of nationalities. Let's... Oh, what are we doing? Jesus. Let's attack. That guy was gunned down instantly. Coming for you. Oh, he's running. Oh, shit! And he's gone down. That is the end of that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon again. Ciao. What the hell? Okay, sorry. Anyway, yes. See you guys soon again. Ciao.